Hello everyone, I am Miss Upashna and I am here as your guide for a better understanding of the Tempest. Okay, so today we will be dealing with Act 4 of the Tempest, which is a very important act and a very entertaining act as well. Okay, it is known as the Mask of Juno. Is it clear? So it's very interesting. So let's get started. Okay, so before we start Act 4, let's just quickly see what precedes the act. All right, so this is a continuation of the act where we met Ferdinand. Okay, where we met Ferdinand in Act 3, Scene 1, where he was piling the logs, the log bearing scene. All right, so this is the continuation of that scene. So this act, it takes place on the enchanted island in front of Prospero's cell. The characters we're introduced to in the beginning are Prospero, the protagonist of the play, and then we have Ferdinand, who is the son of Alonso, and then we have Miranda, who is the daughter of Prospero. Okay, so now you have to imagine this. Okay, there is Prospero's cell, and in front of Prospero's cell, there is Prospero, Ferdinand, and Miranda. Okay, and then we find Prospero addressing Ferdinand. He is talking to Ferdinand. Is it clear? And then Prospero is telling Ferdinand, okay, if I have too austerely punished you, meaning if I have been too harsh on you for punishing you such, and we know what the punishment was. Is it clear? The punishment was that Ferdinand had to carry the heavy logs and he had to pile them up, hundreds of logs, before sunset, in that scorching heat of the sun. Okay, so that's the reason why Prospero is saying, if I have too austerely punished you, austerely meaning very severely, if I have too severely punished you, don't worry. Why? Because your compensation makes amends. Because the reward that I am giving you is my daughter Miranda. Okay, so the reward is so big in itself that it will compensate to all the hardships that you had to undergo. Okay, you will forget all the hardships that you had to ever undergo. Because here I am giving you a third of mine own life, meaning an integral part of my life, and that is my daughter Miranda. So now I hand over Miranda to you. Is it clear? And he also tells Ferdinand that whatever you had to undergo, all the hardships, the punishment were actually trials of thy love. Okay, actually I was just trying to test you. Okay, he uses the legal word trial here. So the punishment that Ferdinand had to undergo, carrying the heavy logs and piling it before sunset, were actually trials. Okay, Prospero wanted to see whether Ferdinand really deserved his daughter Miranda or not. So he was just testing Ferdinand. And Prospero also says that it's strange that you have stood the test. And he uses the word strange here. Why? Because Prospero had thought that since Ferdinand is a prince, okay, he is the son of the great Alonso, the king of Naples. So he is the prince of Naples. So Prospero had thought that being a prince, he would not be able to do this manual labor. Is it clear? So that's the reason why Prospero says that it is quite strange, but you have stood the test, meaning you have passed the test. So here before the heavens, I ratify this rich gift, meaning I give consent to your marriage to my daughter Miranda. So here, take my daughter, now she is your own. Okay, and then he also tells Ferdinand, oh Ferdinand, please do not smile at me. Okay, smile here means please do not make fun of me, please do not ridicule me or mock at me for boasting my daughter so much. Okay, you must have been thinking that I am boasting my daughter too much, but please don't make fun of me. Because soon even you will realize that Miranda is worthy of all the praises, and not only that, she even surpasses all the praises. Okay, and to this Ferdinand responds by saying that I do believe every word that you say against an oracle, meaning at this moment, even if an oracle came to me and said that this all is false, I would still rather believe you than the oracle. Okay, and then Prospero further adds by saying that he lays a condition in front of Ferdinand. He tells Ferdinand, but remember Ferdinand, I am giving you my daughter. Now she is your own acquisition that you have worthily purchased, okay, that you have, earned out of, by passing the test, okay. I'm giving you my daughter. But remember, Ferdinand, you are not to break the virgin knot of Miranda before the marriage is solemnized. All right, meaning that Ferdinand was not supposed to break the virginity of Miranda before their marriage was solemnized. Okay, so he tells Ferdinand, remember Ferdinand, you are not to break her virgin knot. You are not to bed Miranda before the marriage is solemnized. If you do that, then the marriage will not be fruitful. If you do that, okay, if you give in to your temptation, then let me warn you by saying this, that your married life will be unsuccessful. Okay, hatred will grow in between you. You will start hating each other, and then your marriage will finally fall apart. Okay, so let me warn you that you are not to bed Miranda before the marriage is solemnized by Hymen. Before Hymen's torch is lighted, meaning before the goddess of marriage, that is Hymen, blesses you. Okay, and to this Ferdinand replies, he responds by saying that, I want my love to grow. Okay, I want this marriage to be very successful, not just in the initial days. Okay, the love that we are feeling right now, that is me and Miranda, I want this to continue towards the end. Okay, so he says that I am ready to accept this. I will take an oath that I will not break her virginity before the marriage is solemnized. Okay, I would rather, even if I were in the murkiest of den with Miranda, or in a most opportune place where, such feelings are, likely to overpower you, but still I will not give in to temptation. Even if I am left with Miranda in the darkest, in the murkiest of den, but still I'll not give in to my temptation. I would rather wait for that sweet night, for that first night, okay, when she will be mine. I would rather wait for that day. Okay, and then Prospero is very convinced, he's very happy. So he says, well said. So now you may take my daughter, I'll give you my daughter. So now you just sit here and you can talk with each other, you can converse with each other. Okay, and then after leaving them, now he calls for Ariel, come my industrious servant. And Ariel comes in, what is it, my potent master? What is it that you want me to do now? Okay, and then first of all, Prospero praises the Ariel by saying, okay, you and your meaner fellows, meaning you and your fellow spirits, the last act, you performed it very well to the T. The last, the last act that you were assigned by me, you did that very well. You and your fellow spirits. So now I must use you in such another task. Okay, and if you remember, the last act that Ariel and his meaner fellows performed was the Phantom Banquet and the Harpy scene. If you remember, that is, when in Act 3, Scene 3, all these spirits, they dance, these strange shapes, they hover and dance in the air, and then they lay the banquet table. Okay, if you remember, they gesture the king and the company to come and eat the meal, and then they vanish. And then after that, what happens is Ariel comes in, disguised as a harpy, the head of a woman and the body of a vulture. Okay, so that task was very well performed, Prospero says. Okay, so he says, you and your fellow ministers, your spirits, you have performed the last task very well. So now I want you to perform another task. So go now and bring your rabbles over whom I have given you power. Rabbles meaning your fellow spirits. Okay, so now just go quickly, and the spirits over whom I have given you power, just bring them here and incite them to quick motion. Okay, tell them to be very quick. We cannot afford to waste time. Bring them here quickly. Okay, and then Ariel says, all right, my master, even before you utter the word come and go, they will already be here with mop and mow. Okay, meaning they'll already be here, with a twink of an eye. I will just get them here, fetch them here. Okay, and they'll be making funny faces here, even before you pronounce the word come and go. And then he asks his master, do you love me, master, now? Okay, and to that Prospero says, of course I love you dearly. So now go, be quick, and then I'll call you, and so you must come. Okay, and then now exits Ariel. And then again he reminds Ferdinand of the oath. He tells him, remember Ferdinand, the oath that you have undertaken. Because even the strongest of oaths, okay, are broken by the flames of passion. So remember that. If you give into a temptation, then forget about getting married to Miranda, I'm sorry. And then, Ferdinand says very poetically that I'll never give in to my temptation, because my love for Miranda is as pure as the virgin snow, as white as the snow, and I will not let the heat of passion melt the snow away. Okay, so he just proves his love, his pure love towards Miranda. All right, and then later we find Prospero calling Ariel again. Come now, Ariel, okay, and bring your rabbles as well. And you can even bring a corollary, meaning you can bring some extra spirits so that we don't fall short of any spirit in the performance. Because the performance is here the mask. Actually, Prospero wants to organize a masquerade, okay, to celebrate the union between Ferdinand and Miranda. All right, and then the mask begins. Okay, there is magic in the air, illusions, grand illusions, all right? And it's so fantastical. And then comes Iris. Okay, Iris is the goddess of rainbow, and she is the messenger of Juno. And Juno is the goddess of the sky. And Juno is the wife of Jove. Jove is the god of lightning, Jove or Jupiter. Okay, so comes in Iris. And then we find Iris addressing Ceres. And Ceres is the goddess of agriculture and fertility. Don't get confused, okay? Iris is the goddess of rainbow. She is the messenger of Juno. And Ceres is the goddess of agriculture and fertility. She is the earth goddess, okay? Mother Earth. So comes an Iris. And then she starts addressing Ceres. Oh, Ceres, you bountiful lady. Okay? To you belongs all the rich fields of wheat, barley, oat. Okay, to you also belongs the turfy mountains, the mountains covered with rich pasture where sheep nibble. Okay, apart from this, to you also belongs the river banks where chaste marigold flowers they bloom, and the flowers which are picked in the month of August to make the chaste crown to crown Our Lady. Okay, and apart from this, to you also belongs the broom grove, which is loved by a dismissed lover. Okay, the broom grove is loved by a rejected lover who spends his time there under the shade of the broom grove, dejected in love. Okay, not only that, to you belongs the shores, the river banks. Okay, but I tell you, please leave all this at once. Leave the turfy mountains, leave the rich fields of wheat, vetches, barley, leave all that. Leave the shores, leave the river banks and come here quick. Why? Because Juno has summoned you here on this island. Okay, and I have been sent by Juno, and Juno is the goddess of the sky, and she is the wife of Jupiter or Jove or Zeus. Okay, and then now comes in Ceres. And Ceres says that, oh, you generous lady, okay, you bless my fields by diffusing nectar upon them. Okay, you even bring showers for my field and bless them. You even adorn my rich field with your heavenly bow, because Iris is the goddess of rainbow. But tell me, why has Jove, called us hither? Why has Jove called us here? And to that, Iris says that Jove has called us here to celebrate the union of true love, that is Ferdinand and Miranda. Okay, we are supposed to participate in the entertainment and bless the young couple. All right, and now there is one question in the mind of Ceres. So Ceres asks Iris, but Iris, just tell me one thing. Will Venus and her son Cupid also be present in the masque? Because I have been avoiding their company lately. Okay, so now Ceres wants to know if Venus, that is the goddess of beauty, and her son Cupid, Cupid, the angel with a bow and an arrow, with the bow and an arrow. So you know Cupid, right? So now Ceres wants to know whether Venus and the son Cupid will also be present in the ceremony. Why? Because Ceres has been avoiding their company. Okay, and there is another myth there. Because it is believed that once Venus and her son Cupid had helped Pluto, the god of the underworld, or Hades, okay, to abduct Proserpina, and Proserpina is the daughter of Ceres. Okay, so they had helped Hades or Pluto to abduct Proserpina and take her to hell. And they had taken her to hell. Okay, so for that reason, Ceres avoids their company and she literally hates them. Okay, but Iris assures her by saying, don't be afraid of their company. You don't worry about that. Why? Because while coming here, I just met her deity. Her deity means goddess Venus. So I met her deity cutting the cloud towards Paphos. And she was with her son Cupid. So I saw them, when I came here, I saw them flying towards Paphos. And the sun was there, and they were in a chariot drawn by Dove. And they looked rather sullen. Okay, they were rather, very annoyed that they could not play their dirty trick on the couple who has taken an oath not to break their virginity, especially Miranda. Okay, so they so wanted to play a trick upon this young couple, but since they were not invited, they looked rather sullen. Okay, and especially Cupid. He was so annoyed that he had said that he had broken his bow and said that, his arrow, and said that I would rather shoot sparrows and would now never make humans fall in love. Okay, and now comes Juno, the goddess of the sky. And then she just addresses Iris and Ceres by saying, how now, you lovely sisters, how have you been doing? So now let's go, we need to bless the young couple. And then, the mask begins. There we have Prospero, we have Ferdinand and Miranda, we have these three goddesses, Iris, Ceres and Juno. They dance in the air, they hover in the air, and they bless the young couple. Okay, with abundance, with plentiful of everything, with a successful marriage. Okay, so they bless them. Alright, Ferdinand is shocked. He is awed by all this because he has never seen this before. It's something very unusual to him. You can just imagine spirits dancing in the air, this grand, illusion, everything. Okay, that is drawn by Prospero because he was a master of liberal arts. Alright, so Ferdinand is stunned and then he asks Prospero, this is so heavenly. May I ask you, are these spirits? Okay, dancing in the air, because they don't look human to me. Are these spirits? So Prospero tells him, yes, they are indeed spirits, and they have come here to enact my present fancy. Okay, and then Iris calls, the nymphs, nymphs meaning the spirits who dwell on water bodies, okay, and the nymphs come in, and they dance, they make merry, okay, they participate in the mask, and then after a while, Iris even calls the reapers, okay, the sunburned sicklemen. She addresses them by saying, oh, you sunburned sicklemen. Why sunburned? Sunburned because these sicklemen had been, reaping the field, okay, reaping the harvest in the scorching light of the day. So they have turned dark. Alright, so she addresses them by saying, oh, you sunburned sicklemen, leave whatever you're doing. Take a holiday for today. Wear your straw hats and come hither to celebrate. So the sunburned sicklemen also come in. And you have to keep one thing in mind, okay? All these goddesses, that is Iris, Ceres, Juno, these are not real goddesses. They are all spirits enacting the goddesses, that is Ceres, Iris and Juno. Because this is a masquerade, a show. Alright? And then now everybody is making merry. Everybody is enjoying. And suddenly, Prospero says something. And everything halts. Okay? So there's something that Prospero says and everything comes to an end. Okay, just imagine, just a while ago there was this grandeur, there was magic in the air, there was supernaturalism, spirits dancing around, hovering around, making merry. And suddenly Prospero says something and everything comes to a halt. Okay, and then he looks quite vexed. He looks quite annoyed and angry. He just quickly thanks the spirits. Okay, I am so thankful for your presence. Now you may leave. The mask is now over. And then everything melts into thin air. Just imagine all the grandeur. It just vanishes. Okay, and then Ferdinand is quite stunned. And then he asks Miranda, what is wrong with father? He doesn't look pleased. And even Miranda is not sure about. So even she says, I don't know. I have never seen father so annoyed. Okay, and then Prospero reads this. Okay, he makes out that Ferdinand is, not feeling good. So then he addresses Ferdinand. There's this long speech, long extract, which is very beautiful, and it is so important. Okay, he tells Ferdinand, my son, please do not look troubled. Okay, just please avoid my acts. Okay, because there is something that is troubling my old mind. Okay, the grandeur that you saw in front of you just a while ago has now melted into thin air. Okay, so there is a very important message conveyed in this extract. All right, so Prospero says that just a minute ago, just a while ago, there was grand illusion, everything, spirits dancing in the air. And I told you that they were spirits. So now they have melted into thin air. So just like this, everything is transient. Everything is, temporary in this world. Whatever has begun must come to end. All these lofty towers, the gorgeous palaces, the temples, and indeed the great globe itself, the great globe meaning earth, and the inhabitants meaning and humanity, or all the other living organisms, living beings, must die, must come to an end one day. Okay, everything that we see temples, gorgeous palaces, but one day or the other it will meet its ruins. Nothing's permanent in this world. Okay, because our stay on this planet is very temporary. We are like dreams. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded by the sleep. Okay, this is very beautiful. He says that our stay on earth is very temporary. Okay, it's like dreaming. For instance, when we dream, we think that everything is so real, but then we wake up and then it's like, it was just a dream. It's so surreal. Just like that, even our stay on the earth is like a dream, and it will ultimately end when we sleep, meaning when we die. All right, a very beautiful message conveyed here. And then he tells Ferdinand, please don't be upset, I am getting old and there is something that is troubling me. Okay, so you can rather take a Miranda into my cell and then you can rest there. Okay, I'll just walk here and there for a while and then that will be fine. And then Miranda and Ferdinand exits. Okay, so this is the first episode of Act 4, Scene 1. You know that there is just one scene in Act 4 and one scene in Act 5. Okay, so this is the first episode. So what happens after this is Prospero calls Ariel, and then we meet Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo. All right, so I think we'll do this much for today. Okay, if you have any doubts and queries, or if you want me to explain certain extracts or scenes or episodes from the text The Tempest, then please feel free to drop a comment in the comment box. Okay, or if you want me to explain any a piece of prose or poetry, you may feel free to do that. Okay, so thank you so much.